Hey everybody, my name is Valentine De Landro. I'm a illustrator and comic book artist and designer, and you're watching Splash Pages.
Wow, happy Tuesday. Wow, happy Tuesday. Wow.
Leo,
Oh, not
Leo,
again. Oh, my toes are beans.
You're
Wow.
a cat again. Go home.
Bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Sorry about that, Leo. Leo keeps turning into a cat. We can't really figure out what's going on there. I think he needs to cut down on his tuna intake. I'm not really sure. But happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Splash Pages. We have got a great show for you tonight. There is so much stuff going on. I'm super excited about it. And hanging out with us while we're missing Leo tonight is our beloved friend Justin Cooper. How are you doing tonight, sir?
It's really nice to be beloved. That's all I've got to say. So, but I'm doing great. I'm excited about our guest.
Ah, yes. Let's check in with Drew real quick and let him introduce our guest, as well as tell us how he's doing.
Oh, hey
Mr.
everybody.
Drew.
Hello everyone. I'm Drew. Um, I don't know why Leo keeps turning into a cat. He just keeps taking 2 steps forward, taking 2 steps back. So,
It's
um,
a natural
yeah,
fact.
it's true. He comes together because he's just like a cat. Um, little Family Guy humor for you. You're welcome. Yes. So we have a stellar guest. Um, he has been working in comics quite a while. His credits are X Factor. He's worked for DC, X Factor, Marvel Knights, Fantastic Four, or four as they were. He's worked for Marvel. He's worked for DC. He co-created a very a great book called Bitch Planet with Kelly Sue DeConnick. Um, I met him years ago. He was super cool. He came, he agreed to come on the show. So still really cool. Everybody, the one, the only Valentine De Landro.
Hey everybody.
Hey!
Hoopla!
Here,
Oh,
How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
He's so polite. First off the gate, man. This
Yes.
is, you know, it's probably the Canadian roots,
Oh, you're
if anything.
Canadian?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Well,
Wow.
this isn't Canadian, but I'm drinking moonshine.
oh,
Reg Oscar's an alcoholic. I can't get him to stop. I don't know. He bought
is that Crown
he has a
Royal?
little. No, I have Crown in the bag though, actually, for him. He has his own mini bar, and well, it's a full size bar for him. But this is moonshine,
Oh, okay.
Tennessee moonshine. Yes,
Oh boy.
he has he has all sorts of stuff. He's an
I
ornery
see
squirrel.
he's a sophisticated Southern gentleman.
A.
Yes, he is.
So
So
go, Carrie.
So,
Start us
you
off.
go. No, you.
No. You had a thought, Pookums.
Okay. So Bitch Planet. Wow. I'm just gonna start off with that. Uh,
thank you.
I there was like, okay, so we're reading Bitch Planet. I'm like, Bitch Planet, and I'm not one of those like they're the people who are like, oh, I'm all offended. Why would you call women bitches? Or did you do something like that? Are you? But no, this was awesome, and I'm not one of those people that does that anyway. But
Maybe.
you guys, if you've not read this, holy cow, go back and read it. It's everything like that's happening now or that's been happening over the past couple of decades, only taken to an extreme, pretty much. I mean, that's what I think. It's like people who don't follow the rules get thrown in jail. And some of the things following rules include like what you look like, how much you weigh, and various things like that. And it turns into like penal colony, and then there's like all this violence and stuff, and it is so awesome, and the illustrations are beautiful, and I would just like to thank you for having made that for us.
No, thank you. That's very kind. I feel like we have tried our best to put something out there that would garner that reaction. So I mean that you were able to verbalize it. I appreciate that. That means a lot. So thank you.
And speaking of that, how does that come up? Like, you've been working in the industry for quite a while, So, you know, you've run a lot of comic book circles, and I'm sure sat down for a lot of after con meals with creators and such, as you guys do, because, you know, contrary to popular belief, you know, comic creators, you guys do need to eat, drink, sleep, socialize,
Sleep.
human.
Yeah.
Well, power down, if anything, you know. How did that come up? You know, was it you? Was it you? Was it Kelly Sue DeConnick, your fellow co-creator? Was that just like you know, you guys were at a pub drinking and just, you know what, Bitch Planet? Like, how does that come
The
up?
origins of Bitch Planet. Years ago, when I first met Kelly Sue, we met in Toronto at the one of the fan expos, and
Mhm.
I mean, we we uh, we sort of connected, I think, in understanding that we may want to work together, right?
Right.
A little bit after the con, I think there was talk of us trying to get together at Marvel, right? Because she
Hmm.
was about to launch her Captain Marvel stint um,
Hmm.
right around the time that we met. So
Okay.
whether or not I was in the running for the Captain Marvel series or what, not entirely sure. That's never been confirmed or denied. But I mean, we were talking about trying to collaborate on some level. And I reached out to her afterwards after Marvel, the things didn't align there. Not for anybody's fault or anything. I'm not. That's not a slam on anything. It's just
Oh yeah, yeah. No worries.
not in the cards at the time. But I reached out to her and I said, we could just do something. I mean, I like this vibe that we have. Let's maybe do something creator owned. I don't know. I've never done it before. This would have been my first time jumping in that pool. She said, okay, well, we could launch something if you want to start talking about something like a ground floor. We could do that, but I sort of have these ideas going on, right? So Kelly Sue
Hmm.
puts a couple of ideas in front of me, and one of them is Bitch Planet, and I'm like, well, that's my book. I mean, I would really like to draw a book called Bitch Planet right now, right? So
Right.
from there we started fleshing it out together. She had the pitch. I mean, I think that on first pass, like she probably had the first couple issues like just gestating in her head.
Hmm.
It's definitely some of the best scripting I'd ever encountered in quite some time in terms of like just putting a story together. So I was like, man, this is amazing. So we got moving on that. It just seemed like something that had to be out in the world. So I was happy
Hmm.
to be associated with it in that regard from the ground floor as being a co-creator
Right.
of it. It feels humbling. It feels like a great honor. I love the book. I love the book. I'm looking forward to getting it back out, which will hopefully happen very, very soon.
Ooh. Okay.
Are we
Well.
going to see volume 3?
We're not done. Yeah, volume three. Volume three.
Oh my
There's
God.
issue 11 is so issue 11's done. Um, barring me sort of noodling with it more than I should because I'm guilty of that. But once that is done, we have plans. I can't say any more other than the fact that we have plans to launch this and
Oh.
get some more story up because we're not done. Our story's not done. So it
Just
was it
stay
was
away from Netflix if you plan to do a live action adaptation. Stay away from Netflix because they'll cancel it.
fair.
Yeah, HBO is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to see, those shows land on these streaming services and they don't last like the week before they've announced that we're putting the plug. I've sort of had a little bit of a peek into that window of trying to uh, start shows and all the process that goes into all that.
Mhm.
It's a lot of run up to get to it just for it to be yanked. I know, but it's
Yeah.
it's just it's a dollars and cents thing for these streaming services, especially. Yeah, that's just the nature of that form of media now. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you just made Carrie's night. I'll tell you that. I mean, did you see that face? She was like, "Oh yeah," because
I
she read both
Renaissance just
volumes.
thrilled too.
Yeah, she read both volumes. She was like, "Oh my God, there's gonna be more, right? They can't just leave on that cliffhanger." I was like, "You could ask him," and she's like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know,
there
where's
is
his?
more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Um.
Like I
It,
consulted Reddit and they're like, nope, it's not going to happen. I'm like, my life is over.
Oh, who
it
said
was-
that?
well, I mean,
So
What's
yeah,
your
Carrie, it's
screen?
Reddit.
Reddit
What's out them
fans.
right now?
I mean, it's
Carrie,
Reddit,
it's Reddit. You
but
can't trust Reddit. Like, get out of here.
I have it on
Reddit.
good authority.
I
Well,
know,
They're
right?
I would assume you would be more reliable than your average Redditor. So
I
Redditor.
again, nothing against Reddit. These Reddit don't. I'm,
Fair enough.
it is a fine website.
Nicely
Yes, it
put,
is.
Valentine. So also kind of switching gears to some of your Marvel work, because we read some of this the I'm still not sure how to do this. So the Marvel Knights 4, aka Marvel Knights Fantastic Four stuff that you did with Roberto Aguirre Sacasa.
Mhm.
It was definitely interesting, to see, because you had two small arcs, and
Mhm.
and issues. So you
Yeah.
had the Fantastic Four with the Inhumans, then you had the Fantastic Four and the Salem Seven.
Yes.
Yeah. The
You know,
resurrection of Nicholas Scratch.
yeah,
Nicholas Scratch.
Yeah.
yep.
There could not be a more relevant topic than the Salem 7 and Nicholas Scratch right after the release of Agatha All Along.
Well,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yep.
And then you even had this story. I think it was Ben Grimm getting interviewed by like Ben Urich and Jessica Jones about like a golem loose in Yancey Street,
Yes.
you know,
Yes. I remember that
and
too.
yeah, and so like again, like it's you've worked with a variety of like how did that come up? Because you're part of an ongoing series. You
Mhm.
know, does it just kind of, hey, would you be interested in doing this small arc of FF? And then working with Roberto, who,
Mhm.
he was doing a lot of stuff for Marvel, and then he was doing stuff for Afterlife with Archie for a bit, and then he got involved with Riverdale. So what, you kind of the trajectory of his career. So what was that like
Yeah.
working with him?
Roberto was fantastic. I really enjoyed working with him. This was super early on, uh,
Mhm.
when I was at Marvel, and when you're and this isn't a measure of desperation, but this is
Mhm.
just when you're early in your career and somebody just says, "Hey, we have a book for you."
Yep.
Yes, please, right? Like you jump on it, right? This was I think my first, was it my first? Probably my first series.
Oh, cool.
Past the Marvel Age Spider-Man stuff that I did. There
Right.
was like an all age line that they did with Spider-Man, just retelling all of his older origin stories. That was my first Marvel book.
Mhm.
Was the Marvel Age stuff, and then I think I rolled into the Marvel Knights series.
Yeah. Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I remember the initial concept behind it, like the pitch behind the book itself that Roberto had was just, let's take the Fantastic Four, let's focus on the family and strip away the money, the inventions, the success, the fame. Let's see what they look like as a everyday family, right?
Mhm.
Um, and with that already, I think that there was dissenting opinions in terms of like, why would people not being able to take themselves out of it and just go along for the ride of the pitch. And they're like, well, why
Mhm.
would the Fantastic Four be poor? Like Reed would just come up with a patent and like while he's in the shower, and then
Right.
they'd have money again. So none of this makes sense, right? Like how would they? And then I think they had to write something in where this was all Reed's machination. Like he did actually run the numbers and somehow manipulated the family into becoming broke.
Right.
So they would have an opportunity to be like a normal family. I think that he was trying to give them a regular life. I think that was right. Sorry if there's spoilers out there.
But it's fine. This has been out for over 10, 15 years. So by now,
it's been a while. Yeah.
yeah,
And I there it was just one of those things where, you know, that was the that was part of the mandate of the Marvel Knights line, right? Was just to take a character or characters and you know, put them in some sort of different framing that would open up some more unique stories, or just more just different stories, if nothing else,
right.
right? Um yeah, but when I got on, that whole family thing shifted. They had already they got back into the Baxter building, all the inventions were there, and I was happy because I get to draw the Fantastic Car and all that. So like, let's go, right? That was
Right.
okay with me. And then yeah, they had the Inhuman story, I think I started with.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then there were a couple of one-offs here and there. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was a matter, it was Roberto, I think, wanting to develop some really genuine and meaty character studies of these four characters, right? I think that if
Mhm.
you look at it from that perspective, and not so much, hey, when are they getting to the negative zone? I think that it sort of
Yeah.
reads a little bit. It reads a bit more as a family drama, let's say, with
Yeah.
you know, and I think a credit to the diversity of those characters. You know, you can drop them in these different situations. You have this unit that has so much heart and humanity, and at the same time you could do some really weird shit with them too. So um, yeah, I think that any experiment that you try with them to try and tell a cool story, I think it's valid. I enjoyed working on the book, and I think that there were some people who um you know, happy that they made the shift and weren't broke anymore, but at the same time would have liked to explore those stories more. So it's one of those things that you have to, you can't please everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. No, but I mean, it was just especially, I think it was always really interesting seeing,
Hmm.
the Fantastic Four, because you're so used to them handling, Galactus, Annihilus. You just mentioned the Negative Zone, all these big threats. But then you also remind yourself they've been around a while, so they've Doctor Doom is one of their big villains. He has magic casting abilities, so it's just so
Hmm.
funny seeing Reed Richards struggle with magic. And it's like,
Yes.
but you guys have like Stephen Strange on speed dial. So like it's not really
Yeah.
too crazy.
They struggle with
So
their own hubris too. That's the thing
mhm.
about Reed. Like everyone talks about how smart he is, but they don't talk about how stubborn he is too. So
Oh yeah.
that plays into the character flaws.
Hmm. And again, it was just because I remember when the Marvel Knights 4 came out, I remember exactly what you're talking about, Valentine. The
Mhm.
arc when the Fantastic Four are broke and they have no money and they were embezzled, and it was a real humbling experience because again, you're used to them having the Baxter building and all of this technology. It's the same thing with Batman. There've been a few times where Bruce Wayne has been stripped of his resources and he's like, you have no money. So that's your only Batmobile. If you crash it, well, shit. So,
I hear that DC is doing, like, I don't know, some money into a whole line of Batman without any of his money,
it,
and
yep.
right.
I think
I
that
heard
was
Yeah.
the
that somewhere.
James Tinian.
I think I saw something like that.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
absolute
he's
universe. He's
Yeah,
basically
that
just,
too.
yeah, pretty
yeah,
much. So, but it was just really nice to see that those, like you said, those small stories that really focus on, like you said, the drama, because that's something
yeah.
Marvel is very good at, is focusing on the humanity. Yeah, they have superpowers. They're
Hmm.
meta human, but they're still human. So,
Yeah. It's
and
I think it's just a path that any creator working Marvel, DC, for the genre of superheroes, right? Like the
Mhm.
opportunity to tell some sort of human interest story with superheroes is always something that engages creators, right? I think that
Yes.
Marvel, DC, I think there's the example of that. You have hard traveling heroes with Green Lantern and Green Arrow back in the 70s and all that. You going
Mhm.
on. I mean, it's one of those things that anytime you have an opportunity to use superheroes as a mirror, use them as a metaphor, and try and uh, create some sort of social commentary.
Mhm.
It makes it's entertaining. Number one, I think that it's always a way to entertain the audience, that you're showing these heroes in some sort of real world framing, and also gives creators an opportunity to do something different, right?
Totally.
It's like Reed is always going to be smart as the person who's writing him, right? So it's one of those things that he'll for whatever device that needs to happen, whatever plot thread needs to move forward, they'll give him a blind spot there, just as an example, right? It's one of those things that hey, the main focus is to tell the story. We can't get bogged down on the idea that he didn't see this coming, or he can't think of these things, right? They're all
Right.
just characters that we can mess around with, and hopefully put back together and leave them in some state of reason for the next person to play with, right?
Well, absolutely. And then kind of segueing on onto the next thing that I definitely want to bring up, X Factor, that you
Yes.
did with Peter David. I mean, God, I I discovered it, personally speaking, around like the endangered species arc, when it was just one of the thing, and then I basically was reading it up till, oh, God, it got relaunched. So I mean, I know that you came in, you did one or two issues, and then you were kind of the guy for, since like issue 39 on.
Somewhere around
You
there, yeah.
were, yeah. So
Hmm.
you did one of the most, in my mind, one of the still most brutal stories, which was Siren and Madrox's baby. That scene, I mean, haunting. And then you did the stories that had Layla Miller and then one of Madrox's dupes, essentially in the Days of Future Past.
Yes.
So, I mean, God, what a playground. You're exploring this horrible dystopian, depressing future. What,
Hmm.
like, what was that like? I mean, you're like you said, you're talking about playground. I mean, gosh, the
Yeah,
X-Men. So, yeah.
definitely a dream project there, because
Yeah.
I mean, if I venture over to this corner where my old comics are collected, I mean, X-Men, like my X-Men collection is quite a few boxes, right? It's
Of course.
I on all those books, and
Mhm.
uh Peter David, I mean, has forgotten more about this industry than I'll ever know. He made it effortless. His scripts were amazing, right? To sit and read, and he was selling them too, like at cons and all that, right? You could actually pick
Yeah,
up the scripts and read them. They read like novels. Like, he's just
Damn.
the talent that he had as a writer is just unbelievable. And uh again, to be a part of a series like that early in my career too was something else. So the learning curve was steep, but it was something that I definitely tried my best to hold on to.
mhm,
The actual slope of it was pretty steep in terms of getting used to deadlines and putting out product, because Peter didn't rest. Peter didn't have. There was no lull time between when his scripts were ready. Like if you finish an issue, he had other two for you to go, right? So he was always that far ahead. Yeah, he was a machine, and uh, yeah, I mean, it was the one thing I will remember is that he did. He left me a message after that Baby Sean issue. Like he called me. I missed Peter David's call, and he left me a message, and he was happy. He was happy that I was able to tell his story. So that means a lot to me, and I wish I could have saved the message.
I was just about to ask, did you save the message?
Yeah,
Like,
save the message.
I was like,
those back.
oh,
Yeah, I wish I was able to, but I had it on my like in my mailbox for the longest time, and then
oh yeah.
I lost the number, and that was it. So, but
Oh, I'm sorry, man. That sucks.
no, it's one of those things. I felt like I did my job, so that was one of those things.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it. He was happy.
Did you have any, like, in that run, was there any moment that you were like, I can't believe I'm doing this? Like, it's your absolute favorite? Because if I could say there was one that always stood out to me, it was when Madrox is fighting the Sentinels in the Days of Future Past, and he's just sending like squadrons of dupes against the Sentinel, and he's just acknowledging that, he's like, I can feel, like, because Madrox with his thing is that even though they're duplicates, they're parts of him. So when they die,
Yeah,
he feels their
yeah.
death. So he's just like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just sending countless dupes to their doom. But it's what we got to do because that's a mother flipping Sentinel, and
Yeah.
we like we're against Cortex. He's got Sentinels. I'm fairly certain we've been backstabbed by Doctor Doom. What the hell? This is crazy sauce.
I mean, should have seen that coming, right? But yeah, and
Well, I mean,
all it was all just the scope, the pacing, all of it was just it was epic. I think it was um one of those stories that I think Peter had rolling around in his head for a while, and that he was able to construct it, put it together,
mhm.
and make it flow as well as he did. It's a great story. It is a great story. I
Yeah.
think it was a like I said, the stuff I learned about pacing, the stuff I learned about storytelling, just in general from Peter. It's in that entire series. So grateful, always will be grateful for the fact that I had the opportunity to work with him.
Oh yeah. And then on top of it, you had not only your work, but I mean, you had those beautiful covers by David Yardine. I mean, just still looking at them. I mean,
it's killer.
like
Yeah.
like you were in just fantastic company. You had um, you had like just so many fantastic artists. So, I mean, I
Mhm.
know because I've met Peter David more than a few times, and
Yeah.
oh my God, he's just the funniest. Because I remember back in the day, would just show up and I would just have like a huge stack of books, and he'd be like, "Holy shit!" And
Yeah.
he would just
That's
do
work.
like a marathon signing, and I would just talk, and he would like quiz me. I was always like, it was always like he was testing, "Are you a real fan, or are you doing this? You selling these?" And I would be like, talk to this whole thing, and
Right.
super nice guy, and I mean, have you? Because he was always talking about how he loved meeting people who were dressed as the characters. He had plenty of photos with that. Did you
Yeah.
meet any X Factor characters would come up and be like, oh, I've
Yeah.
worked with you,
Yeah. 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 I've definitely just the cosplay was pretty cool in the beginning, and I mean, Madrox was neat too, just because his costume then was just a t-shirt. So I mean, it made cosplay easy for a lot of people, right? That was neat.
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Oh nice.
As the artist of the
Mhm.
book, what kind of insights do you have for the characters? Is there anything that maybe most people don't know about the cast of this crew of X Factor? Like, Madrox. We're talking about Siren, but I think was this when Monet St. Croix was on the team, or was that
Yes, it was.
before? So
Mhm.
Rene St. Croix, probably strong guy, right? You know.
Yep.
Yep.
Guido. Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had him. You had Shatterstar. You had Madrox, strong guy. Richter's on the show on it. Siren. Um, I feel like I'm forgetting some. Wolfsbane.
Was
Yeah, I
On and
couldn't
off.
remember if it was Wolfsbane or not. So I'm like,
Oh
is she
yeah,
there? So I love Rain.
because she
Such cool.
because there was that on and off because she was sometimes with X Factor and then she was with X Force. You had Layla, of course, Layla would pop up because that's her, and then Darwin was on was there for a bit, so
there
it
for
was
a
a
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
solid team.
It's
Solid.
the mutant related teams, right? So there's always some sort of shuffle with the cast here and there, but always interesting to see when they pop up and getting the opportunity to incorporate them in that same dynamic. I mean, I think the run was anchored basically by Jamie and Layla though, and Layla was a neat character. I'm not entirely sure what's happening with her right now. I think that there was something going. I'm a little behind on my X
We're,
Men
you're
I
lore
trust me,
gave
right
you're
up
good.
now.
on I
You're
gave up
good.
Yeah,
after
You're good
issue
here, my
12.
man.
So
We we couldn't keep up either. We tried. We were like, no. So
I think they're off the island now or something to that effect. And
that's
there's
the
new
cool
it,
story.
thing about
I'm
X-Men. You
excited to
can
see because Gail's on there now. Gail Simone is writing a new run now, so I'm
yep.
mhm.
probably just jump in when I get a chance to do that. I do enjoy her writing.
Yeah,
Um,
because they have like three separate books going, and there's just again, it's the multiple X-Men teams, and I was like, I just can't keep up anymore. So I'm
that's
right there with you.
X
You
is
can always
a
leave and then come
multiplier.
back with X-Men, you know? That's a nice thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But is
With
there anything that maybe you started as like a character design that's still around today?
In X Men or X Factor.
X-Men or X Factor, maybe something, like somebody's got
anything?
a scar and it's still there today.
I'm not entirely sure. Jamie doesn't have the M anymore, does he? I think that I saw that the mutant tattoo over his eye is gone. That he got when
Yeah.
he in one of the arcs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think
That's actually kind of one of
Shatterstar.
them. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think
I think some of
Shatterstar's
my Shatterstar is sort of held because I eliminated the headgear. I think there was the first art direction I had for redesigning him. I think was to put him in a suit, like he was just supposed to be in a white suit, and then he would show up. But I don't think it made for the right visuals tactically. I think there was something off there. So I think we just sort of met with the jacket and had the blades coming out of the sleeves and all that. I don't know if that's held, but I think that was one of the things that may be part of the character. It sort of look like um, how he showed up in the movie in the
yeah,
mhm.
Deadpool 2. Yeah.
Yep.
So Shatterstar in a jacket. Maybe I can maybe I could take a claim for that.
There you
well,
go.
he's pretty much better than you at everything that he does, right? That's what that's what
Yes,
his
indeed.
power is. So
Pretty much. But I think the last time I saw him, he was still in the Mojo verse, and I was like, okay, so can't escape that.
I think he's
But
gone now,
yeah,
isn't he?
I think
Yeah.
with Krakoa, a lot of things got you know
Hmm.
blank slated. So I
Yeah,
think you're
yeah.
right. A lot of that work because I think at one point Jamie was dead too. So like I said, with X-Men, you just can't keep up. They die, they come back. They're the Winchesters of the Marvel universe. They'll never dead too long.
Man, before
And
that
and
even
Peter was
happened,
always
yeah.
Peter was always the greatest with when you know Jamie when Madrox would die because he'd be like, really guys, like he's multiple man. He
Right.
it's very easy to write him back into the script. So right, he would always tease people when it looked like he had died, right? Because he'd be like, "Come on." It,
Well, yeah, and that's what I loved about Peter's run because he was like, "Oh yeah, Madrox totally sent dupes out into the world," and then he's like, "Oh right, let me collect those," and then One is a monk. The other one is a priest. The other one's a shield agent. The other one is actually a villain.
What a
You're
great
like,
premise. Yeah, it was such a great premise. I really enjoyed the initial idea for what Jamie could do with his powers. What would any of us do if we were able to, like copy ourselves and send them out into the world? I mean,
absolutely. No, it was,
yeah,
He's gonna collect on all those 401ks that he's been doing all these years. That's Jamie.
yep. There you
I,
go.
I would I would have the nervous breakdown thing that Naruto had with all of his shadow clones. There was a episode where he's on a boat and they're like, "Why are you making me do this? You aren't the boss of me. I'm going to do this. I want to do this. I'm not going to be the one who's doing the work." And they just get into a huge fight. And if I had, that'd be me, because I'd be like, "I'm just going to sleep. You go read. You go write. You go do the dishes."
That's what happened in
And I
Gravity
would.
Falls, Carrie.
I mean, it's always that'd be me. I'd just be the like, I end up just beating myself up, and it's just like, fuck it, I'm done. I
Mhm.
hate this power. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
'cause
But
I'm such a troll person.
yeah, it's all good. But
It's
I'm sorry, what was that, Val? What'd you say?
Carrie's just too hard on herself is the thing.
She is. Yeah. You have no idea. I'm trying to think if there's any. I just had something and it's just whoop, gone. Coop, did you have anything?
I was going to ask about the cover to TMNT number 77. Um, that's really awesome. Like just looking at this, like your hard traveling heroes, it shows kind of like looks like a train map of Manhattan, something along those lines.
Yes,
That's pretty crazy. I really love this.
they
The use of color too, kind of like a desaturation on that. That's fantastic. Do you
appreciate it.
have
Thank you.
a favorite Ninja Turtle?
Favorite Ninja Turtle today? It's Donatello.
Nice. Yeah.
Donnie.
It's a solid choice. Donnie's really come out lately as a lot of people's favorite. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's you could ask at any Comic Con if you go up and ask who's favorite. You'll see people by raising hands. It's pretty even across the board. So
Oh,
yeah,
That's the beauty of the turtles. Yeah, absolutely. Donnie strikes me as the middle child,
yeah.
and and I relate with that. So like he's just sort of the one who's does his job, gets he's gets the good grades, quiet, doesn't cause too much trouble, right? But you know,
He sure tries. He sure
often
tries not
ignored.
to cause trouble. Yeah.
he pulls his weight.
Pulls his weight.
He pulls his weight. It's just like you said, he's the quiet one, so sometimes he doesn't get the attention he deserves.
Yeah.
I was going
Everybody.
to ask you too about this. Speaking of, we were talking about X-Men comics earlier in your comic collection. What's your origin
Mhm,
story like for collecting comics and getting into comics? Because you mentioned you like the X-Men and all that, but
mhm.
where does all of this come from?
Man, how much time do we
You're
have?
good.
I'm good.
You're good.
No,
Take your
get
time.
I one of those things. I will condense the origin story as much as I can. But I mean, comics is something that I shared with my grandfather originally. He had he had um, like some original runs of like Spider-Man and all this stuff, like early, just lying around his house. It was crazy, and I knew no better. So I had Amazing Spider-Man number 11. I think just I was just reading it, just
Yeah.
doing things and sticking it in my pocket and running out the house and doing all these things, and then just dash away. I had no, I didn't know I was going to
Yeah.
collect it back. It's just some amazing Ditko work in the ages
Yeah.
in this, and yeah. But my grandfather had a set of comics, and one of my earlier memories is just that, just being able to crash at his house and feeling like I was swimming in this pile of comics. I could turn around and I could read this one and read the next one. So yeah, from there, you grow up early 80s.
Mhm.
Around that time, I mean, you know, it was an interesting time to be consuming that sort of media, like superheroes, like
Oh,
cartoons,
definitely, yeah.
Super Friends, all those. The whole Saturday morning cartoon block, that was a thing, right? Like when you sit down and watch cartoons.
Mhm.
That all seems like the same uh, uh, period or moment for me, right? So that's sort of how I got into all of it. Getting into drawing um, was mainly because my older brother could draw, at least when I was younger. Like he was drawing things, right? And I would ask him to draw him something for me, and he'd say no because he's an older brother
Mhm.
and he has to be. So
You're asking him to draw you a Spider-Man, right?
yeah,
Like Grandpa
he'd say no.
likes. Yep. He'd say
He'd say
no.
no. Yeah. But he's my older brother, so my older brother's being a dick, right? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, you know, it's like, fine, I'll learn to draw it myself. And then so I really learned to draw out of spite. Um
Works for
and
me.
yeah, I mean, it can be a powerful motivator, I guess. But you know, it was a lot of tracing. I remember doing a lot of, you know, like putting the paper on top of it. But then there was a few like revelations I had. I remember looking at a Kevin Nolan cover for The Outsiders. Like it was a painted cover of like
Oh
Batman, the
wow.
Outsiders, Cobra in the
Mhm.
back. I stared at that cover for days. I mean, it was just something I'd never seen before. I'm like, how do people do this, right? Like, how is this a thing, right? I something about that struck me more than the the sequential art inside of the books.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So that just it sparked something between that and a number of different things that I just kept seeing that just made me just keep asking the question, like how are they doing this? Like how is this something they're able to do? And then I started looking at the storytelling. I started wanting to tell more stories, and then it all sort of snowballed from there. I didn't. We have a couple of high schools around here that specialize in arts. Like you could specialize in visual arts or drama or it's like fame. Um, so man, I might be dating myself with that one too.
No,
No,
you're
you're
gonna
good.
live forever.
Yeah, I'm in this safe spaces. My people, okay, that's good.
No, you're
Um,
good. You're gonna learn how to fly. We got it.
Yep.
You're fame. Valentine De
gonna live
Landro's
for it.
fame. We got it. You're good, man.
I got it. Um, and so yeah, when I was there, I did visual arts. I was drawing and painting, and I did a painted X-Men series like for my ISU and all that stuff.
What?
That was
Tell me
Awesome.
you
yeah,
saved that.
Mm.
because this is when I was in high school, graduating about the time I was graduating in my ISU. That's when Alex Ross had sort of popped up on this too.
Oh man.
Um, so then that again, there's another
Game
event. I'm like,
changer.
how the hell? Like this is amazing. And so I tried to do my best to paint and do all that stuff as well. Um, and then I did not pursue art when I graduated high school because I didn't know what a future in art looked like. Right? I didn't think of that at that point. I wasn't really working sequentially, so I didn't know how to put a comic book together. I was painting some things, right? I was painting, taking pictures of friends and referencing poses and doing all that stuff and doing paintings, but I didn't think I could translate that into like a career in comics. Um, so I studied journalism, and I graduated with a journalism degree and uh, worked for a little while at some magazines and some newspapers, but that thing buzzing in the back of your head thinking that you still want to tell some stories and draw. Uh, so I hit a couple conventions. I joined up with an art studio in Toronto. They were called Bright Anvil, Um, the director was Logan Lubera. He has done a lot of design work, and he's doing, I think, covers and some maybe some interior work for Marvel right now. He was the director. Brought me in. I mean, it was a great environment to learn what the industry was about, because he had experience with image in the early days. Like, he was working at Rob Liefeld's studio
Mhm.
Oh, this sounds
back in the
like
day. So I mean,
yeah.
yeah, he was working extreme, extreme, right? So
Something like
yeah, it
that.
was one of those things where he sort of he and everybody else who was there. I mean, he was the co-director with a number of different people, but it was one of those things where you got introduced to the industry in a lot of very digestible bites, almost, because it seems so overwhelming. Like, how do you do this? Like, what is this about, right? So having the
Right.
experience to come up in a studio, especially in the early 2000s now, like 10-ish, somewhere around there,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, it's one of those things where you start to figure things out. You understand that experience was extremely valuable to me, and I appreciate the people that I met there, the artists I met there. They've been successful in their own right too. So it's a lot of it's a lot of not necessarily where you get to, but how you get there, almost in the
Hmm.
terms of how this journey went about. I mean, I eventually, I think, figured some other things out just by just by making mistakes in the industry as well too. Like, I mean, that's also a very powerful teacher, and I'm still learning from mistakes. So I mean, I don't think you ever stop learning that. But
So were
I'm
you
again.
learning from Ken Lashley up there?
No, Ken was at a different studio.
A different school. Okay,
Ken,
yeah.
you know, like, everybody knew who Ken was. I mean, that's one of those things. I mean, the city is small, but it was also one of those things where Ken was probably at that point, like early 2000s, like, Ken was a beast. He still is. I mean, but
Oh yeah.
he's, and
Yeah.
just like one of those guys that, you know, look at what he's done. Look at the track, like that
Yeah.
all speaks for itself. So yeah, like,
Yeah,
absolute
I
respect
was wondering if
for
you had
everything that he's done.
I was wondering if you had gone to the art college there with Hugh Rookwood.
No, he was a
I
good
love
cat.
Hugh. Hugh's the best.
He was a really good guy.
The
Yeah,
current Granite
there
State
was
Comic Con sketch champ, Hugh Rookwood.
yeah. That's nice. Yeah, no, he's a phenomenal talent. I met him just through conventions and stuff too, but you know, we'll chat once or twice online. I haven't spoken to him in quite some time, but and every time he's in the city, I for a convention or something, I haven't really had the chance to meet up with him, but
Mhm.
You got some rich
incredible
talent
talent.
up there. I'll say this, just from where you came from and all that, like the peers that you have, and I mean, just for what all of you have done, kind of for the like the comics industry with the covers alone, and then the
Yeah.
sequential and all that. I'm like, wow, what a powerhouse! It's like this little area, and I'm like, oh wow, that's where most of the artistic talent seems to be coming from in North America for a while. So,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
wild. Uh,
it is wild.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's why.
explain it, but yeah, it's those things. It's just, it's, yeah, we're here and we're working and we're trying our best to leave our impression and contribute somehow to this industry, man. So it's, I wish I knew what the secret sauce was, but I don't really know. It's one of those things that there's a convergence here. Yeah.
Indeed. And
I'll tell you one
Mhm.
thing. I think that, and then I'll defer back to Drew. But I think that one of the things I noticed about your work is that your use of negative space reminds me very much of like Mike Mignola and all that, and kind of using every portion that's there, but telling the story just as much with what you make versus what's not there. So I really like that kind of the use of negative space that you have.
I appreciate that. That is high praise. So thank you.
I'm
I
just about to
consciously
say
again
that.
just try
Sorry
and
if
use
I
the
stole your
space. Yeah,
thunder, Drew.
absolutely. It's very cool.
Wow, Mignola, high praise, Coop.
Well, hey, I calls him like I sees him,
No,
and
you do. You
Bitch
definitely
Planet
do.
is really gorgeous. Like when you have something that's as ugly as like someone getting beat in the head by a prison guard, and you can look at this frame and be like, "Holy crap! Look at what's going on here!" Like everything is like it's so well proportioned and just so well positioned and compositioned. Like look at this, like how much is of the story is told by the background there. You know, I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Oh
I'm sure
no,
Carrie
Thank
would
you.
agree.
don't worry, Coop. I wasn't arguing with you. I was just saying, like,
Oh, I didn't
high
think
praise.
you were
You know.
opening a red
Uh,
Yeah.
window. That's good.
yeah. But so the other thing, Valentine, I wanted to bring up is I've never known somebody who was responsible for designing a coin. So you know, so that when I was doing the research, so Amber Valley, how did all that come up?
Someone from the Mint, one of the art directors from the Mint, from the Royal Canadian Mint, he reached out to me, trying to remember how far back it was, 2016, 2017, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
Asked me to submit. I think that they had just come off of making some superhero coins,
Okay.
and my from what I remember him mentioning, I think my name came up in that discussion, but I didn't quite make that cut. But he reached out to me for this other project, which was to uh, submit some designs for a World War II coin, a
Mhm.
commemorative coin. So, what do I know about designing coins? Absolutely nothing. But I tried it. I put some stuff together. I put it somehow, was able to make it to the next round to have my submission finalized on a coin. So I was like, wow, okay, this is amazing. So that was the first one. Um, then I was asked to submit some designs for a circulation coin, like we have a $1 coin that's in circulation here, and I was asked by a different art director now to submit a design that commemorated Oscar Peterson, the jazz composer and pianist that from Canada. So he is the first Black Canadian to have his image on a coin here.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, that was a big deal. And again, my submission made it through, and I was able to get my design on a loonie now. So I mean, so now I have two coins.
That's so cool.
Third coin comes up for to submit for a commemorative coin for Black History Month for this year, right? So that was, I guess I was working on that a couple years back.
Mhm.
Again, just learning more about how to tell a story now on a coin, like trying to use the space and apply a narrative to it. It's a bit tricky, but I enjoy puzzles like that, and it was one of those things where you and plus the subject matter is absolutely fascinating. I mean, if you have a
Absolutely.
chance to check out some of the videos and some of the articles on this settlement, Amber Valley, that's was one of the early Black settlers that came up from the South and up into Canada
Mhm.
to create this community. Um, Completely captivating story, and yeah, I fortunate enough again to have my design land on that coin as well. So also a commemorative one, so it's not in circulation, but again, it was fantastic privilege to be able to provide art for that too.
I mean, did you get like it's because I looked in the images, I was like, that's a big coin, and I was like, I wonder if you got to keep it. And I'm just imagining like you have like a den that's kind of like a mini bat cave, and you've got these big coins in the
No,
background.
they
You
didn't
know,
let me keep the big ones. No, but
oh,
I've got some.
okay, cool. Because
Maybe like
I
Scrooge
I don't have
McDuck.
them here. I have them upstairs.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just imagine just like you've got them in the frame, and you just that's the you're giving the tour of the place to a newcomer. Like, oh, and here are my my commemorative coins,
Yes.
oh, that's the first one, the second one, oh, there's the third one, me, oh my, just, just racking up them points. I'm just like, well, hell of my picture frames. Man makes his own, his man his own personal coin. Like he's literally making the
I
money.
do understand why Batman has the big one in the Batcave. I get the why you'd be compelled to just put a giant coin in a room. So I get it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, if you did, I would have been like, that would be the coolest bragging right. Also, that would be really hard for anybody to take because you would completely notice someone sneaking away with a giant silver dollar. But you never know.
If they can get
I mean,
they're welcome to have it. I mean,
yeah, right. If they can get out the house, sure, why not?
that's yeah.
No, I saw that. I was like, that is super rad. Especially like I had no, I just saw the one that you've done for Amber Valley, but the other like two, I'm like, wow, you had a series. That's awesome.
I'm again extremely fortunate to have the opportunity to work with the Mint in that capacity and have those designs make it through. I mean, I was able to be for the launch of two of them for the Oscar Peterson one,
Mm-hmm.
and the Amber Valley one. That was great. I mean, it's all. Yeah, I don't even have words. I feel really lucky to be able to work like that.
And kind of circling back to what you said earlier, have you confirmed with your brother, like thanked him for the motivation? It was like, thanks for the spite, made a career out of it.
He
You
flipped him
know?
a coin.
Always.
Yeah. Thanks for your time. Go get a soda.
Like, maybe you want me to draw something for you now. Huh? Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
It'll be $500.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Are you at that point like Jim Lee where you're charging $20,000 for a Head and Shoulders sketch of Batman?
I wish.
Yes. Yeah, so
he'll well, look, Justin, let him do a couple more coins and he'll get there, man. You gotta build up that resume,
I'm just saying, what is a coin if not negative space that's embossed? I'm just saying.
You're just looking at you're not looking at fourth dimensionally, Justin.
That's your guy right there.
You know? Well, since we're coming up on the hour,
Mhm.
I don't know, Carrie, Justin, do you guys have any other questions you want to ask him?
Well, sorry that I haven't spoken too much. I've had a sinus infection for like 2 months now, so I'm
Oh.
dying. But I'm gonna play Leo real quick here and ask you, what do you geek out on
Oh my God.
when it's your time to just when it's your spare time and do you like what do you like to get into? What's your hobby or something that like you relax doing or collect or whatever?
Man, I mean, is it weird if I say I still read comics? I mean, like,
No. Oh, everyone here still
I,
reads comics.
I generally have to, if I have spare time, I gotta spend it like catching up on everything that I've missed for a couple months or so, right? So like I'll have a stack, I'll go through that. Is it also weird to say
No.
like cooking? Because
No, that's
I
a
mean
good one.
that's kind of one of those things I like to try new recipes. Like I just found a pickled onion recipe that I tried out today just because I needed to clear my head. So, I just
Nice.
started pickling some things.
Red onions?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I found
Mm.
it was just uh, uh, the onions, a few beets, like just like a half a You stick that in there with some cardamom, some peppercorns, bay
Yeah, figured
leaves.
peppercorn. Yep.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a
some
solid
vinegar
one
and
right
a little
there.
bit and some sugar. Yeah, man, it's solid. I may eat that whole jar by myself.
I
Oh,
love
there you go.
oats.
No, but yeah,
Yeah.
apparently your the dinner parties at the Delandros must be quite a hit. You know,
I
if you're
mean,
laying down this kind of quality food, I'm in. You must be a hell of a host. So,
I do enjoy hosting. I like making food. I don't know what it is. It's just
no, it's fine.
one of those things. Yeah, yeah,
You, you do you, man. You know, whatever you need to do. Put on that music and bake.
yeah.
You know,
Cooking is
bake,
fun.
cook, whatever.
My wife is the baker, so I try not to get into her arena too much because sometimes I'm a bit better at it. So,
You're right. Yeah, no,
one,
totally.
That's your
right?
artistic tendency because cooking itself is an art. So,
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
painting with flavor, you're painting with texture, you're painting with those different things.
Hmm.
So
I kind of
I like
away because
I
like
like doing the same
I'll
thing.
see her. There you go, right? It's like I'll see her do something, and I'm like, you sure you want to add that, right? But
Hey, honey, you gonna use a
you gotta,
mandolin on that? No, I
right,
wasn't planning on it. Well, you know how
Ooh.
slim you can get the
So,
cuts with a mandolin, right?
right.
I
so
think
what
I'll do this.
what I'm hearing is that you try not to do what I guess like backseat chefing.
Don't want
Like
to do that.
you don't want to do that. No, definitely. So, do you
It's
also do the thing where whoever cooks, then the one who doesn't does the dishes,
no,
or
not because
because
I don't trust anybody else to pack the dishwasher and all those things, so I tend to do that.
I
Like,
like this man. I like this
oh
man
man,
more than when we started because what he says makes so much logical sense to me. You're right.
listen,
You're
I'm
correct.
I'm I'm just admiring him because he has a dishwasher. Because in my place, we're
I,
still doing it by hand. So, you know, and I'm just like I was like, all right, let me just get this done because then I don't have to wake up the next morning and do it myself.
Also true.
So I'm just like, listen,
cast iron can't go in the dishwasher, so I rather, cast iron has to be handled very carefully as well. So, I'll
yeah,
take care of that.
absolutely. Well, yeah, see, you know what, Justin seconded. Now I'm like,
You
we
season that.
thought of
You
you as
season
just an
that pan.
artist.
Yeah.
Now we know you are a reader, a chef,
A journalist.
a silent critic in the distance. Just I
There you
wouldn't. What was that? No, that was the wind. You're doing great, babe. It's gonna taste delicious. I would add just a little salt though.
go.
No, no,
Naughty wind. That naughty wind. Yeah.
yeah, hell yeah. Well, oh,
Wasn't me. It was
man.
Madrox.
Yeah.
But there you go. So, because we're coming up on that hour, so we want to be cognizant of your time and whatnot. So, just want to say thank you so much for taking the time with us, Valentine. This has been absolutely awesome. Um,
Thank you.
so in the end, before we let you go, you know, what are what can we expect? Like, what are you working on now? What's going to be coming out soon that we can keep an eye out for? Are you working on any Kickstarters or anything? And then last thing is, what's the best way for anybody to, if they want to reach out to you or on social media or something? So,
Let me think. There is so I'm a part of a group that's publishing some civic study comic books called Good Trouble Comics.
okay.
If you can go goodtroublepro.com, I think is the website address.
Hmm.
We have a few books out. There's one called Register. Register deals with showing teens. These are books that were commissioned by the New York Department of Education. We had these books released in the schools for kids to start understanding history, voting rights, how to register to vote, things like that. So a lot of hopefully an entertaining story, but I mean trying to entertain and teach, edu teach, something like that. One of those words. is the mandate behind those books. So I was lucky enough to draw 2 issues of Register. It's going to continue for maybe another few issues. We also republish them and release them under the Good Trouble Comics banner as well. So they are available to order. You can probably find the code in one of the issues of Diamond. I think that anyway, it is a book that's available for release and available for purchase. We'll hopefully have some issues and a portal to sell the books through our website soon. So that's one thing. We're hopefully trying to do some create some literature that not only tells a story but can also help people understand their role and their position in a sort of civic framing, right? It's
Mhm.
It's dry material, so I mean, civics always was dry, so
yeah,
oh, what's a filibuster? Well, that's when
right,
someone won't shut up. It's like
yeah.
That's when Carrie shows up, and
yeah.
It's true. Thanks, Carrie.
when she's not sick.
Oh, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Sounds like a long time to deal with that.
Yeah, they had me on roids for a while, so there's that. But
Have you tried pickled beets?
Mm,
I do enjoy pickled beets,
There
and
you
now
go.
I might have to try some pickled beets.
there
Hmm.
you
I
go.
got some
I
golden beets in the fridge that I'm gonna be pickling. So
There you
There
go.
you go.
There you go. And then what's the social media? What's the best way that anybody wants to follow your work, interact with you?
Man, I just jumped on. Well, not just jumped on. I've been on Bluesky for a while, and business is picking up there.
nice.
V.
All right.
Sorry, forgive me for looking down at my phone. I don't
Oh, you're good.
remember.
I gotta look
I
you up
never,
on Blue Sky now. So
I
Oh,
never
same.
looked myself up. V. De Landro. I think all my other social media is Val underscore De Landro.
mhm.
So Instagram or
Oh, there you are.
any of these other ones that aren't really working anymore, like Mastodon, and
Hmm.
I mean they're all there. I'm the only one I'm not on is Twitter or
Well,
whatever
yeah,
the hell they're calling.
yeah, that's fine. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely Blue Sky has been a lot of, and there's a lot of there's a way to create a feed just for like art right now, which I discovered that I
It's
have to
it's so
put
cool.
yeah. So I like that. Instagram, definitely I'm active there too. So yeah, any one of those two. Always
Okay.
appreciate anybody who jumps on. I try to post something
Hey,
on occasion. I'm not as regular as I should be, but I do my best.
you're doing great, buddy.
As
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
long as we can
Um,
find you.
yeah. Yep. All right. Well, Valentine, thank you again so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. If go ahead saying that if you do have any Kickstarters or any sort of projects that you're working on like that, feel free to send it to us, and we'd be more than glad to advertise, help you rake in that sweet money. More is always good. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let
Otherwise,
us
thank you
know when
so much.
Bitch Planet comes out again.
Yeah, Gary will be the first one to sing praises when the volume 3 of the long-awaited Bitch Planet, concluding the arc and the mysteries of the volume 2 cliffhanger, as Carrie put it.
Yes.
Lot to be resolved there. A lot of bitches put in their place. But overall, thank you so much. And Carrie, if there's anything technical, just remind our guest before he bounces.
Nope. Just when you hit the Leave Studio, there'll be the upload thing. Go ahead and go to that. And whenever you're finished, you can go ahead and drop it out. It was so
Sounds like.
nice to have you tonight, sir.
Thank you all for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. I appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
sir.
joining
Much
us.
appreciated. Yeah, have a good rest of the night and keep cooking.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
you know this.
Let
Yeah,
him
wait,
know.
no.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you again.
Bye.